Hola, mi amigos. Ustedes saben qué hora es. El día de Chainsaw Man. And before we get into it, everybody clap it up. Tatsuki Fujimoto reaches a milestone with Chainsaw Man right now. 100 chapters out of the way. And please, if you could, drop a comment in the comment section. You know where it is. Let me know what your favorite part of Chainsaw Man's been. And I'm not talking part 2. I'm talking everything that we've seen, all 100 chapters. What has been your favorite thing? We've seen a lot of highs, we've seen a lot of lows, and we know that there's a lot more to come. But today we're just talking about chapter 100, so please, without further ado, remeru, let's get into it. Jumping into it, chapter 100 was not the craziest chapter. However, it was very informational, and we got some cool introductions, especially to this new character, Yuko. As we began the chapter, we are introduced to the Ghostbusters. We got Yoshida, Asa, and Yuko all running through this school. They're trying to find a devil right now. And the reason that they're at this school is that Yoshida informs the group that apparently, since this is the largest school in Japan, there potentially are devils hiding in classrooms which are unused. And I'm just thinking right here that Yoshida's continuously showing that he knows a little bit too much about devils and devil hunting to just be your average high schooler, I guess to say. I'm not 100% sure if other high schoolers would have this same knowledge set about devils already. However, I know a devil hunter would, and I'm interested to see if the War Devil picks up on this any, but that's aside. And as we get introduced to the group, we see some interesting developments. So both Yuko and obviously Yoshida, being an actual friend of Denji's, are fans of Chainsaw Man. And you see the look on Asa's face whenever this happens. Not only is she thinking that, God dang it, I got paired up with this guy who I was asked to be his boyfriend and it wasn't even me, but it's just this awkward situation. Before she'd even gotten the War Devil, she didn't want Chainsaw Man to be a part of this world, and I think it's interesting that you continuously see that everybody within the world is a fan of Chainsaw Man. In both her introduction and her first interaction with Yuko, we see that Asa's very shy, very timid, and just is not a very confident person in who she is. Whenever she speaks to her, she's fumbling her words. Whenever Yuko asks Asa if she's a fan of Chainsaw Man, she says, I guess just as much as the average person or whatever. And Yuko, it's seemingly right here, just loses interest in the girl. She kind of just turns away, straight-faced, and you can tell that Yuko, a big fan of the Chainsaw God, is just like, alright, we just got this girl. Yoshida seems like the guy. As Yuko turns away, and Asa as well, we see some girls from Asa's class, actually. And these girls get into a sort of tense situation with Asa. Asa locks eyes with one, and the girl who locks eyes with Asa has this sort of dumbfounded look on her face, almost confused that this woman would show her face after what occurred recently, a traumatic incident for not only Asa, but realistically for the rest of the class as well. And as the girls pass up Asa, one can be heard saying loud enough for everybody else to hear, she has some nerve trying to get a boyfriend so soon after what she did. And one of the other friends is like, she can totally hear you. And they all run away laughing, just enjoying their day, trying to ruin somebody else's day. Hey, let me tell you something. Never let somebody ruin your day, y'all. You're a strong individual. Man, woman, whatever in between, don't matter. You do you. However, both Yoshida and Yuko kind of just are confused, but they don't really question the situation. They just are like, that was odd. And Asa right here has some sort of like anxiety or panic attack. She's just going through a lot of emotions, and seeing these girls, especially interacting with them like this, to where they're actually making fun of you, to where they're bringing up that past situation, to where they're bringing up something that you had no control over. Trying to get a boyfriend wasn't even Asa, that was the War Devil. But all of these compounding factors are causing other individuals to continuously look down on her, and that's just not the sort of mind space that she wants to be in. Forgot to mention earlier, but the hunters are holding weapons. Yuko has an axe and Asa has a katana, and as Asa just has these emotions pouring down over her, she drops that katana and excuses herself in the room, says that I need to get out of here and that there's something I must go do. And she trudges off to the locker room. All these emotions, all these past memories of Bucky, of the class looking down on her, of everybody upset with her, just flooding through her mind, and she's just flustered right now. And she gets to her locker to try to get some shoes. And guys, did she not have shoes on? Like, like literally a second ago. I have no idea. I hate to try to call it a plot hole. Maybe there's some sort of semblance, whatever the but but she opens up her locker and her shoes have been vandalized. There is raw meat on them, looking like some fine ass chicken breast, just littered throughout her shoes. And you know that it's probably the classroom trying to jeer her, mess with her because you killed a chicken. And Yuko comes up behind her and she's like, oh god dang it, they put chicken in your shoes. And Asa's just like, it's cool, I'm fine. But we know you're not fine. And as Yuko questions that same exact thing, Asa doesn't care. She exits the room once again, trying to get away from the group. And as she goes outside, kind of back to what I was mentioning, she doesn't have shoes on. I have no idea why. I'm gonna blur that word out, however. Yeah, what? She's just like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Trying to convince herself that her reality is okay. And I mean, this is definitely a tactic to try to stay mentally sane, but you can just tell that Asa's really going through some stuff right now, and she actually needs a helping hand. And the helping hand that originally reaches out is the War Devil. The War Devil comes out and she's just like, hey, put some shoes on. Our feet are starting to hurt walking around without any shoes on. And she tells her that, hey, bullying's a very common thing. It occurs in any sort of society where there's not social fluidity. So if you want me to go deal with that problem, let a brother know. But this isn't what Asa's trying to do. She's like, no, I'm fine. And before I get to further into this, I love this. Once again, we see this sort of parental figure coming out from the War Devil. It's like, hey, they bullying you at school? Let me come up there to the school and tell them. Like, you ever have your pop say some dumb shit like that? Not me. I wasn't getting bullied. I wasn't a bully either, but I wasn't getting bullied. But it's just funny. Once again, just trying to look out for her well-being, and not even just her mental well-being, but her physical too. She's like, put some shoes on, like that's hurting your body. And yeah, I don't know. It's just some cool stuff. But you know, the War Devil is a full-on hallucination. And Yuko, overhearing this conversation, only hearing that, no, I'm fine, just tells Asa, I know you are not fine. And you know why?
What are those?
Look at those! You don't got them shoes on. If you don't have shoes on, I'm doing the same exact thing. This hurts. And this is where I started to get interested in the character of Yuko. She seemingly is a very good woman. I know this is a Tatsuki Fujimoto manga, so it's not likely that she's not going to have some crazy plot twist or she's going to get turned into a devil, yada yada yada. However, she's a very empathetic woman. With no questions asked within this chapter, she does a lot of things which are fully out of the goodness in her heart. She's trying to help another individual who's in a bad place, all for her own well-being. Like she doesn't have to do this. She just is trying to help out somebody who obviously needs a helping hand. So Yuko coaxes Asa into a game. Yuko takes her shoes off, gives one of them to Asa and says, hey, here's one shoe so that you won't be hurting anymore. And Asa, trying to reject this shoe and turn it down, is like, no, just take your shoe back. I don't need this. I appreciate it though. And Yuko doesn't take no for an answer. Yuko starts running away and says that, well, if you want to give me my shoe back, then come give it to me. You got to actually chase me down and actually give me my shoe back. And she just starts booking it. She is hitting the digital dash on Asa. And Asa's like, what the heck is going on? And as Asa laces up, puts her one shoe on, tries to chase down Yuko. And as Yuko continues to run, you're like, where the hell are they going? But she ends up at her house. And this is what I'm saying. Yuko, whether this was for some sort of evil means, you know, there was ulterior motives to it or not, this is seemingly just a good woman inviting a friend over to her house, somebody who obviously doesn't get invited out to hang out with people, somebody who through her interactions with her, she can kind of see through the bullshit and understand that, like, mentally you're flustered, you're not in a good place, and she's trying to help out with that. She gets her back to the house, says, hey, do you want to come in here? And she's like, no, I'm all good. But Yuko is like, all right, if you're not going to stay here, at least take both of these shoes before you go back home. And once again, Asa just trying to reject any sort of help that's coming her way. She's like, no, please, no, I don't want to do it. And she's just like, take the shoes. Even if you sell them, yeah, throw them away. You keep them. I don't care. Wear them back home. Do whatever you may with them. And as she walks away, just staring down at these shoes, it's interesting. She's just thinking like, that hasn't happened before. Even the class president, even with Mr. Tanaka, I'm sure that there's never been some sort of incident where somebody forced her into accepting the help that they were trying to give her. and the War Devil pops out at the end, just like, so you finna sell them shits? Like the nigga in your ear just being an idiot back in high school. And I was just like, baka. A good chapter, a very good chapter. And I like this introduction of the character Yuko. She is a very selfless woman, just trying to help out Asa, it seems like. Obviously, could be ulterior motives. This is a Tatsuki Fujimoto manga. However, she's a good woman so far. I'm interested to see where the character Yuko goes. And even though she took her back to her house, like potentially for some weird reason, it'll be cool to see Asa gain a friend. Even back in chapter 1, class president told her, like, you're always like this. You just are always too afraid to do anything, to accept anything. Like, you gotta take some risk. You gotta stop just being a goody-goody two-shoes and trying to always say no to things. Trying to always take the path of least resistance always isn't the best way. Sometimes you need to ask for help. Sometimes you need somebody to force you out of a situation. And potentially that could be what Yuko does. It could be what the War Devil does. And that could even be what Denji do. Who knows though? Hope they can get together at some point. Sometime soon. I miss Denji. He's at the school. Like, we gotta see him soon. But I don't know. It's Tuesday. So I got work, I got chainsaw, I gotta edit, I got a dead, so I'm out of here. I got work to do.